Good evening and welcome to another episode of Reasonable Men. I'm your host, Marty McDonald, joined as always by my good friends Walter Davis and Abe Whitman. How are we doing, guys?
I don't know, Marty. I'm doing pretty fucking shitty right now. First of all, you're not the host. I am.
Sure.
Second of all, what the fuck is this shit with Walter's name being before mine?
I like it. It just rolls off the tongue.
No! And scratch the episode. We're redoing this!
Abe, I am so glad that you feel comfortable enough with me as your friend to tell me how you're feeling. And if amending my original introduction would make you less tense, then I would be happy to do so.
He does seem tense.
No, just don't do it again.
Sure, okay. Anyway, today's topic is it's gaining a lot of attention in the media, guys. Cancel culture. Cancel culture.
Cancel culture.
I'm not sure what it is, but Abe, I'm sure that you've prepared a long speech about it.
Look, everyone makes mistakes. Now, back in my day, you'd make a mistake, maybe a couple people would notice. They put it aside. No one would really think any two thoughts about it. Mm-hmm. But nowadays, you so much as look the wrong way, you get lynched! It's insane! You know, the internet has become an archive of mistakes that any pea-brained orangutan with a smartphone can access whenever they want. Marty, eyes up. I'm not saying that there should be, maybe no repercussions. I've noticed a case or two where mob outrage has maybe been warranted. But overall, I gotta tell you, this cancel culture shit has been weaponized by Chinese feminist Zoomers, and they're using it to put good people like us, to put us on notice. Now, take for example, the tragic case of State Representative Tim Whalen, a good friend of our own state rep. In 2015, he made a fairly innocent Facebook post with the line reading, "The media has made sure that you know Trayvon Martin's and Michael Brown's name, and they represent the worst our society has to offer." The outrage the internet unleashed on this reasonable man for just a couple of words was shocking. Given time, however, he was able to recover his reputation. But if he did this today, he might as well just start digging his own grave, because there'd be no recovering from this.
I have an example of cancel culture as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm at the library, and I'm using the free computers that they have there. And I'm just surfing the web. I'm, looking at videos. There's a whole series of sorority hazing videos that I happen to enjoy. And then this librarian walks by and says, I have to leave, before she calls the police. And so not only did I have to leave, but I've had my computer privileges revoked. I can't come within 100 feet of the library for the next 6 months. If that's not cancel culture, I don't know what is.
Oh, I get it now. Cancel culture is like repercussions.
No, Marty, you're missing the point.
I have a story. When I was deployed in Iraq, I got separated from my platoon during a firefight. I was having an off day, and frankly, I was pretty goddamn tired. So, I took cover in an abandoned hospital to take a breather. When I wake up, it was pitch black. I couldn't even see my hand in front of my face. The other thing I noticed was the silence. Not a peep from my men or the enemy. Then I realized, holy crap, I am going to get my ass chewed out when I get back to base. Well, to my surprise, I was met with awe. I was told my entire company, 4 platoons, 50 men, had been decimated. I was the lone survivor. It was absolutely the coolest thing I've ever done.
Yeah, Marty, that has absolutely nothing to do with what we were talking about except to prove the fact that you yourself should be canceled.
Well, if you think about it.
Anyway, let's move on and please welcome our first proper guest of this season, Kelly Klein!
Hey, all right.
Hey, thank you. Hello. I'm
Please.
a big fan of the show.
Right answer.
Kelly, hi.
Hi.
You have been at the center of a raging, savage social media controversy lately. Could you please fill in the audience for people who may not know?
Sure, yes, absolutely. So I'm what you would call a typical soccer mom. So I have 3 boys, and as you can imagine, I'm always on the move, driving one to football practice, one to his friend's house, one to daycare, so on, right? So my ex-husband.
Well, that is crazy. Because last year, my wife and I split up. And so you're a divorced woman. I'm a divorced man. I think that's quite a coincidence, huh?
Okay, so anyway, so
I just thought that it was a coincidence. I mean, I wasn't trying to hit on you or something. I mean, you don't have to be a bitch about it.
Walter,
Yeah.
take 5. Go.
All right. I'll have you know, I am in a happy relationship now. Happy.
Continue.
Is this normal?
No.
Yes.
Okay. Anyway, all right. So as I was saying, it was a summer day, and I stopped to get my hair done at the local salon, and there's a long wait. So I'm in there, I don't know, good 3 hours, right? So when I come out, my car is gone, and I call the police to report it stolen. Apparently, they have it in their possession, and I'm told that my youngest son had been left in the car by mistake, okay? And he suffered a pretty serious heat stroke, and there's evidently a warrant out for my arrest. So I work things out with the authorities. I have to pay like a couple thousand in bond or whatever. And then I get out, I'm released, only to find out I've been fired. And the people on Facebook are calling me a monster. I had been canceled.
That's crazy. That's
Yeah.
insane. All because of one simple mistake. What do you do? What do you do when you have been canceled?
Nothing. You can't fight the mob. I mean, you try to hide, but they dig into your past and forget it. Suddenly, your entire life story is on the internet, and then you're powerless to defend yourself.
Well, I mean, do you try to defend yourself, save your reputation?
Of course, but my lawyer advised against it. But I remember one really bad, nasty incident where this complete stranger commented on my page, some people shouldn't be allowed to have children. That struck a nerve with me because my children are everything. So I commented back.
What did you say?
Nothing too crazy. I just, I said, you don't have all the facts. So saying something like that is not only ill-informed, it's immature. So, educate yourself before you hurt people.
Yeah.
Well, what I read it says, and what the fuck would you know about being a parent? I looked at your profile and it looks like you don't even have full custody of your daughter. What's the story there, jackass? At least my incident was accidental and you probably actually abused your kids. That's why you've been married twice in 10 years, Crimea River.
I don't think that was the comment I was referring to. No, I don't.
yeah.
I don't remember writing that.
Oh, here it is. Here it is. You don't have all the information to make that comment. For the record, he was 7. He wasn't some newborn. He could have easily gotten out of the car if he wanted to. Getting heat stroke was his stupid choice. Live and learn, as I always say.
So I think in the heat of the moment, it's hard to keep your cool.
Yeah, literally. Am I right?
Walter,
Yo.
do you need another break?
No.
Be quiet then. Kelly, even if your post came from a place of anger, I gotta tell you, I actually agree with it. I do. I do.
you.
My dad, you know what?
Yeah.
He didn't jump in every time that I made a mistake. He let it play through,
Yeah.
and then he would ensure that I learned a lesson. Case in point, one thing that jumps to mind, when I was 16 years old, I took my dad's car out for a spin, and I totaled the thing. I know, I was 16, I made a mistake.
Yeah.
I made a mistake. And I had to call him. I had to face up to the fact that I had to call him. And I called him and I explained, Dad, I totally wrecked your car. What do I do? You know what my dad told me? Figure it out. That's what he did. And I had to figure it out. As it turns out, my dad reported the car stolen, and, well, I got a criminal record at the age of 16 that was expunged when I turned 18. So all in all, I would say it was a good experience, I have to say. I really learned my lesson.
Yeah, that is a great story. I mean,
Thank
I
you.
think as long as there are no long-term serious consequences, right, you can let your child learn the hard way.
Absolutely. I mean,
Right?
your child is totally fine now, right?
Sure.
Maybe I'm softer than my peers, but I would never let something like that happen to Jerry.
What about Marvin?
Oh, for sure. The cigarette story I told you guys, that was just the tip of the iceberg for him.
I think people always underestimate how mature kids are at a very young age. I mean, I have had more fulfilling relationships with underage kids than I have with people my age.
Yeah, I mean, full-grown adults who have been like slandering me have not forgiven me, right? After all this time, but you know who has forgiven me? My son. My son, right? And I've forgiven him too, right? And if a young 7-year-old and his wacky mom can be more mature than the entire internet, that says a lot about society.
Yeah. Forgiveness
Right.
is such a huge sign
Yeah.
of maturity.
Yes.
I'm glad that your son forgave you. I'm just glad that he's okay.
Oh, let's just not put labels on it, okay?
Why is he fat?
Yeah.
I mean, if he's fat, I have a great exercise routine that I could teach you.
Oh, I don't know if exercise is in his wheelhouse, right?
Oh, shit. Don't tell me he's lazy, because if he's lazy like the rest of his goddamn generation, then I'm just going to be so sad right now.
Can we just drop it?
Sure. Yeah, okay. No. Kelly, how do we fight cancel culture?
Oh,
That's what I want to ask
Yeah,
you.
so I think what we have to do is to ban social media.
Nice.
Because it
Yes.
has become, right?
Yeah.
It has become a toxic place solely dedicated to attacking innocent people for exercising their First Amendment rights, right? I didn't tell you this part already, but when Twitter has banned me from explaining why I'm not the only one at fault here. So I'm filing a class action suit that I hope other silenced voices will join.
Amazing. It's crazy how partisan these social media companies have become. It's all black and white to
I
them.
know.
A year, I made a Twitter account. Within a year, they had banned me for hate speech. So I'm joining you in your suit.
Oh, that's great news, Abe! Oh, I'm so glad to have people like you on my side.
Absolutely. And to anyone else out there who wants to join in Kelly Klein's suit, email us at shrewsburyisgoingtohell@gmail.com. Kelly, I gotta tell you, you are absolutely the best guest we've ever had on this show.
God, that means a lot to hear.
I kind of like Toby a little better. I mean, she's top 5, just doesn't have the same aesthetic as.
Johnny Depp was probably my favorite.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you guys. You couldn't just, end this like normal people. Marty, just finish us off.
This has been another exciting episode of Reasonable Men. I'm your host, Marty McDonald. Until next week, have a good night.
Keep pushing. See where it gets you.
Sure.
We need to be careful that we do not make sweeping and generalized statements that lump all police officers into one bucket and disparage those who've worked hard to uphold our common values in their professional and personal capacities as police officers and members of our communities. This doesn't mean that there's not more that we can do. But as my legislative colleague and former member of the state police, Representative Tim Whalen, noted recently in a Facebook post, the wholesale attacks on the integrity and honor of all who serve is wrong. Let's work together to become a nation reflective of our shared vision and mindful of the powerful words written by Dr. King